like throwing light to some other part of what
you spoke about.
We spoke about. Now, what we have to do as Africans is what is the next step that we have to take as Africans in order to stay away from the slavery of the Europeans?
Good question. First, to understand and conscientize our people, because our people are not conscious, because most of what their brain know is what the European put, that we remain oppressed by the European through a system of neo-colonization, through a system where we are in our home, but everything that is dominant has nothing to do with us but with them. Their language, their culture, their movies, their show, their news, their names, their identity. Our own things are dying.
Even the work, in the field of the work.
Yeah.
You see someone that earns 5,000, they still have to give you cars and credit facilities. And at the end of the month, you don't have your own money. When you finish paying the bond and the cars and all those things, you're left with nothing. So that is still another part of slavery. I still see it as slavery. So unlike what I really admire what you are doing, in the sense that you are developing, you are like educating people now on some other aspects, that we have to do as Africans. We must know that we Africans, we are not like the Europeans. The problem that we have is that we are Africans, but we want to live like the Europeans.
Because that is what our mind is fed. Because remember, when people live based on the environment. Why do Chinese name their children after Chinese and speak Chinese and live like Chinese? Because the environment, the information circulating around is all about Chinese. But imagine if the Chinese environment, society, was now invaded by European images, content, and everything they hear is supplied by European. They're gonna be behaving based on what they hear. So our behavior of trying to act like European is not of our choosing. It's because they have taken control of our information sector, you understand? And our environment, and they are now shaping us to think behaving like them is better, because there's nothing that even speak about our own things anymore, you understand? Even the Africans that you see on TV trying to do soapies, they act European, plastic hair. It's like being African is bad. So they are basically indoctrining Africans to always view everything Africans as bad, everything European as good, and if you live the African way, you're living bad. If you live the European way, you're living civilized and advanced. And because they're keeping us in their control, our own values don't even develop, because you must culture develop, you understand? People develop the thinking capacity and improve the culture and the social life, you understand? But when they keep you under the control, none of your own develop, you understand? It sticks. So they advance it and then address it for their own, but they now beam it in your brain to make you view. So they're trying to turn you into something that you're not, you understand? And it's not to advance you, it is to keep you a slave. Because once they detach you with your own values, let's say if all our values are lost, then we have no reference, no repair. We are owned by them. We don't know where to go, because Chinese today can stand for Chinese because they have Chinese language, they have Chinese values, they have Chinese culture, and the culture include music, and so other things, the belief system and so many other stuff. So these people are basically trying to wipe out. We are just being.
But why is it that they couldn't control the Chinese?
Good question. First, the Chinese have been heavily attacked, remember, by the European also. I don't know if you know, because Hong Kong was occupied by England for years and maybe a century or so. You understand? Hong Kong. And not only Hong Kong, Macau, where the Portuguese were there, because in Macau they speak Portuguese. They're trying to take over China, but Chinese, because Chinese created guns, they had guns, they fought. But these people managed to occupy part of China, Hong Kong and Macau. They managed to occupy it. So it is not like they're not trying to take over Chinese. Vietnam was under them, you know. And then they even the Vietnam War that they speak a lot about, you understand? It was to keep the Vietnamese under them. So these people have done atrocity. Philippines was under them, is still under the influence. Indonesia, and so India and Pakistan, you understand?
Yeah.
But they have not done them as evil as they have done us, you understand? Because we've been reduced like to the lowest of the lowest. And even in the classification, when they class the world people, you understand, they put us as the lowest.
Still stays down.
And it is them. See,
so now when is Africa gonna rise up to their own task of living their own life?
First, we must break free from European.
How do we do that?
Good. Once a good number of Africans are conscientized that European continue to colonize and oppress us, like we speak now, through neo-colonization, we rise up against them. We rise up against the hegemony. That means we remove the order. That means like the president, the new movement takes power. You understand? Remove the language, because the basis of the domination is the language. If we leave the language, we will never make progress. Actually, most of Africa has been free for 53 years, 50 years, you understand? But we haven't moved anywhere, because their languages are tools they use to peg us to them. Like those who speak French are pegged to the French, those who speak English are pegged to the English, those who speak Portuguese are pegged to Portuguese, and we are just servant of this. So the only way we can break free is to remove their languages, which gonna deny them a tool of manipulation, because they use the language to give us the impression that we're inferior. You know, people say, we speak the language, they don't speak our language. That means we are superior.
The problem is that Africa doesn't have a central language. So if we have to remove the language, what would be the means of communication between Africans?
Good point. When you remove a language, you don't just say, oh, language go. No. It means there is a government in a country. Remember, no, you must know, before the European came, each tribe, what they call tribe today, these are nation, because they were a nation of their own.
Yes.
Each tribe was its own nation. It means each tribe was independent with its own territory, you know, living next to each other as brothers. You understand? But when the European came, they round out many nations, what they call tribe today, and they put them under the rule. You understand? And the Nigeria and the Gabon and the Senegal and so on and so on. You understand? Now, they impose their languages and to control us and to enslave us. But today that we are fighting for total liberation, if we succeed to liberate ourselves, we have to sit as among Africans, say, because we have a new reality where many nations are one, we must take one of the language of thing and make it the principal language. You understand? We just upgrade it as the main language of communication to deny the colonizer a tool of oppression. You understand? Because we can't keep using their languages. So we put one African, the main language of communication. It takes the place of English, it takes the place of French, it takes the place of Portuguese. You understand? So that we have a central language in that particular African country. But obviously, you phasing out their language and you phasing in that language over a period of years. It can be 5-10 years. You understand? That's what you do. That means you make books, news, you know, like it done, you know, you're phasing it in. So, but same time, because all African languages are important, they must be preserved. So, in each area where a particular tribe is based, like its homeland, that its language must be taught there also. You understand? That means, let me take an example. There is, let's say Shona here. There is Fon. There is Zulu. There is Ndebeles. Let's say you take Ndebeles become the main language, but where the Fon are based, the homeland, Fon must be taught there, on top of the main language of communication. You know, and then where the Zulus are based, Zulu gonna be taught on top of the main language. So to deny the European who are destroying Africa, a tool of hegemony.
In Africa, we have a language called Swahili.
Yeah, I heard about people.
Swahili. And what I want to bring out is this Swahili, even if it has to be an African country,
a continent,
if it's gonna be an African language, if it's gonna be an African language. So what happens when the Europeans that you want to put out of this, you want to take out the language and all those things, what if they start speaking that that Swahili language,
Yeah.
and wouldn't it still be interference with the Africans?
No, the European, if we had we put on African language as the main language of communication, because their whole life and their business is oppression. That's their business. I'm not lying to you.
Yeah.
You're gonna see they are interfering everywhere in the world for centuries. It's not of today. It is their business to do oppression. That's how they live. That's how they grow.
Yeah.
They will learn that language and then try to cause conflicts always.
Of course.
But it won't be the same. You know why? Because when you're using my language to tell me I'm inferior, I'm gonna laugh at you. You got a point. If you're using my language to try to tell me that I'm nothing, people are gonna think you crazy. You understand? This one is speaking my language and he say I'm nothing. You got that point. That already gonna make their point almost useless, and they will never be able to master it like our own. You understand? And then so they will always be useless. Like when they are going to North Korea don't speak English or French. North Korean only speak Korean.
Yeah.
When they use that Korean to tell the Korean that your government is doing this, the Korean even laugh. You understand? Because they say, look at these people, what are they even talking about? So you want to be our government, you understand? So that language already, when it become our own, it remove the perception that they are more than us, you understand? Because the people say, yeah, we quite. And then plus, it makes it more difficult for them to cause trouble. Second, using our own languages, people now know that we and them are not the same people, you understand? And we don't have the same interest. And then we must protect ourselves, you understand? But once we use the languages and plus the brainwashing, there's a confusion in the minds. People feel, maybe we are one, you understand? But we are not one because the interests are not the same as the interests. Look, we know those people for centuries. They are going to the moon. They are going to Mars, you know, Master. We are still having many of our people looking for food in the dustbin. Why are they? That means our interests are not the same, you understand? While they want to go to the moon and Mars, we have people, we have our languages are dying. You know, a lot of African languages, our identity is dying. We don't, even our own voice in the world is nowhere. You know that? They even speak for us. So the only way to break the hegemony is to uproot the languages and replace with an African language. Remember, people are gonna say, some Africans say, oh, but we got many tribes, which language are we gonna choose? But I say, if you have no problem speaking